Really? Really? Are we this bold with AI now? Really? Ugh, I have to think level-headed. I have to chill. No knee-jerk reactions. This is obviously something that looks awfully familiar to a particular Mushoku Tensei jobless reincarnation, but I'm gonna pause. Let's just look into this. Let's find out what's going on here. Is a webtoon actually ripping off Mushoku Tensei jobless reincarnation, like tracing, or is it AI pulling that stuff? That's the big question mark. But yes, a webtoon called The Night King Who Returned with a God on Naver Webtoon is under fire. Now, oddly enough, for the most part, it's not technically about the fact that it looks awfully like Mushoku Tensei jobless reincarnation. A lot of people, especially outside of that area, is sort of kind of speculating that it used AI to essentially trace Mushoku Tensei jobless reincarnation, because honestly, yes, I mean, a baby isn't like unique to Mushoku Tensei jobless reincarnation. A mom looking down is not unique to it, but it looks pretty darn close, and technically a later shot of him standing in this windowsill looks awfully like Mushoku Tensei jobless reincarnation as well. But no, again, let's not jump to conclusions. But no, the reasons why it's under fire and literally getting a 1.9 out of 10 rating is that a lot of people are saying that it's just, in general, using AI. A lot of people have noted a lot of inconsistency in the artwork itself, finger issues, as usual, that comes from AI-generated art, stuff like that that's popping up. And yes, technically, a lot of people have pointed out that a particular character in one scene looks an awful lot like Groot. But yes, as a lot of negative ratings are coming out for it, a lot of bad publicity is coming out for it, eventually the studio itself came out with a statement. They said, "We did not use images created by AI." There you go. Problem solved. Everything's answered. They also said, "In order to reduce the sense of discomfort felt in the webtoon while using 3D models and various materials, we corrected using AI at the final stage of work." So they didn't use it to create it, they just used it to finalize it. I don't know. I know that there's a lot of things that you can use for post-production and whatnot. Technically, the whole thing with Studio, they technically utilized it, but I don't know. It's pretty sus, as they say. They continue. "For efficient work, technically, AI was used to finish the work, but in the area of creation, all work was done in the studio as follows." So again, they're sort of saying that we made the first aspect of it, but then later kind of used AI to, I don't know, finish the hands or something. Obviously, this brings up a bigger concern for the industry. I've had no shortage of expressing my frustration with the idea of AI when it comes to commercial use. I mean, technically, with the whole situation with the rock, paper, scissors thing by Quarter Crew, my concern there was that companies like Netflix is probably calling them up immediately to say, damn, if we can stop having to use studios and just record some people on a stage and then just boop, put it together, which again, it's more than that. It seems like an inevitability. It seems like this is where we're going, no matter how you look at it. And that's for animation. While the webtoon industry has been mostly focused on the concern of AI replacing writers and whatnot, this controversy seems to be a sign, at least to them, that this isn't what people want. That people, at least in this industry, at least in this community, ain't having it. And I think that's kind of been a good thing for a lot of stuff, is this concern for people kind of passing things off as their own artwork and their own work when it's not. There's even legislation in certain areas that they're wanting to label this stuff. If you post something AI generated, you have to label it that it was AI generated. I haven't looked into it in details, but I would assume that it's an aspect of trying to be clear with the consumer that this is something that has been generated and not actually falsely advertised as something that somebody hand-drew? I don't know. But like I said, the reviewers are speaking up. This is something that, at least in this community, they don't want. They're unhappy with the idea of art essentially being created by a single click, rather than somebody hand-drawing it. But yeah, it seems like the ongoing argument for at least the industry is that AI is just like any other digital tool. They use tablets, and you paint with a digital pen. There's a lot of things like fill-ins and all that kind of stuff that's done with programs. Their argument is, what difference is it when an AI does it? But I don't think there's so much saying it in regards to, and similar to what the studio is saying, not so much in regards of we want everything to be drawn by AI, at least these folks. It's more of an aspect that things that are painstaking, things that are repetitive and arduous can be done with AI rather than having the artists themselves have to sit there and just painstakingly do it. But the concern that I have and many other people have is, where do you draw that line? Naver Webtoon stated that there is no official guideline, but they are reviewing AI internally. So this is obviously bringing up the big question mark of, so are you guys going to allow this? Like, is this something that's going forward? Are you guys going to just have full AI generated webtoons going forward? I mean, what are you doing with this? So it's good amidst this controversy that obviously they weren't aware of until afterwards. Apparently, from what I'm seeing, they apologize and they said, look, they just did it for finish ups. It won't happen again. We're gonna going forward, they will not use this. The hand got bit and they're like, no, okay, we're not doing this. Don't worry. But it's obvious that they're looking into it. They're looking into it like, okay, well, this is bringing up this question mark. We need to kind of establish the ground rules here. So again, it's kind of like one of those controversies that technically brings up the subject that sort of needs to be discussed at this point. But I think the interesting thing from this whole thing, despite the fact that I got initially angry at the idea of somebody just blatantly ripping off Mushoku Tensei, because that is my ongoing argument, is the idea of not so much using AI, but the fact that AI generally rips from other works. But the interesting thing in this is their argument, which honestly is something that's being echoed across the industries. This is something that Japanese producers are actually bringing up. The argument is, this is making it easier for creators. As we've seen with the whole Netflix with studio thing, the boy and the dog, they were happy, celebrating that they used AI for the backgrounds. Their whole point in this big article was to celebrate that this could help the industry, alleviate the issues with the shortage of animators, that they've put out of business, that they've not paid well, that had to go get other jobs. But yes, their whole point is that AI could give them the necessary tools to their creators so that their creators can focus on their work. That they have all these projects and this will allow them to focus more because the AI will do all the work. Now, granted, for that particular project, they drew the concept of the background, the AI kind of filled it in, and then they checked it, and then they processed it. But this idea that it's going to help because there's a shortage, and let's be honest, Netflix, if anybody, they just want to be able to click and something happens rather than having to pay a bunch of people. They're not doing anybody favors. But this is something that technically is echoed by Rootport. For those who don't know who Rootport is the, at least his publisher claims, the first actual fully AI manga that's been published. Rootport through Shinchocha published Cyberpunk Peach John. And yes, Cyberpunk Peach John is a fully AI drawn manga. 100 fully colored pages that he did in just 6 weeks using Midjourney, which is a project that he claims would have taken him over a year to do. This dude literally admits, I can't draw, but he used Midjourney, which uses AI to generate images. He gave it a field of ideas, it generated stuff from that. He wrote the whole story himself, just couldn't draw. Now, I would argue, pat yourself on the back for putting together a manga within 6 weeks when it would normally take a whole year, when technically it was done over many years by other people drawing the art that then fed into the AI that you used without their permission. This opens up, of course, the bigger argument. This is what Andrew personally, me personally, I can't pass. Like I can say, okay, I'll accept this. If that's what people want, I'll accept that. It's fine. The only thing that I personally cannot accept is AI using other people's art. I'm fine with the idea of an AI essentially taking somebody's character designs that they produced, and they personally put it into the AI generator to produce different positions and poses and stuff to create a manga. Say Rootport made a bunch of character designs, inserted it into an AI, told it to restrict to those, and create a manga out of it, perfectly fine. But him using other people's art with AI to generate a manga and then sell that, that's BS. That I cannot stand by. I don't care how much it alters it. There's even people claiming that it kind of matches other sorts of art. I think Tokyo Ghoul, a lot of people said. But yes, the other concern that myself and a lot of other people have is this possibly putting animators and artists out of work. Rootport argues that the AI will never replace human artists. He sort of equates it to MIDI instruments, that we have MIDI instruments, but yet it didn't replace real humans. They say both humans and AI create based on learned data from the past. However, humans can create not only from data, but also from emotion, experience, and means of communication. And whenever humans plagiarize other people's works, they get in trouble for it. It's like, but it's okay for AI to plagiarize other people. Humans can't. I'd be really curious. I would be really curious. Somebody needs to do this. Somebody go out and create a full manga using all of his artwork from his manga and use all of the writing and everything from it. Just scramble it around and sell it. I want to see what would happen. I bet you Shinchosha would actually go after them. But yes, the bigger concern here is the plagiarism. This is the stealing of other people's art. That's probably the bigger story within AI-generated stuff that I think most people agree is not a good thing. I know there's a lot of people out there that think that AI creates something new from other data, which is a good argument. I'm fine with accepting that. But it's enough that there's actually legislation actually putting in place. There's lawsuits happening for people stealing other people's art. So it's a growing concern, obviously. But anyways, I just wanted to get on here. Like I said, knee-jerk reaction was make a video saying, holy crap, I can't believe these people just completely copy-pasted Mushoku Tensei. I end up reading it, and it quickly jumps past his younghood, and it goes straight to adulthood, and then goes into modern times, and it's weird. So it's seemingly, unless I'm missing something, not really Mushoku Tensei. Just quite a few shots. And Groot. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to hit that like button down below, comment, let me know what you think of this whole situation. Additionally, if you're new to the channel, make sure that subscribe button so you get all my content. I do news, reviews, first impressions, top lists. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. Additionally, if you want to support the channel more, I have a Patreon link, tips link, super thanks, and membership button down below. I greatly appreciate what it does, and y'all take care.